everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Pac-Man Championship Edition DX+. Good lord, that's a mouthful. But how else would we appropriately start a video that's about a yellow dude, halved out ping pong ball, chewing on a surplus of balls? I apologize for that immaturity. Pac-Man Championship Edition DX+. Came out on Steam a couple of days ago, but it has a long history. Pac-Man Championship Edition originally came out on the Xbox Live Arcade back in 2008, and it's interesting to kind of paint the picture of what the Xbox Live Arcade was like back then, because Pac-Man Championship Edition really made a huge splash, and it was one of the most beloved games for the platform at that time. I'm not sure if that legacy's persisted, but this was an era when, you know, on Xbox Live Arcade, the #1 experience you could get was like Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, so these kind of like neo-retro score attacky type games of old mechanics with kind of new twists on them and neon and, you know, Daft Punk in the background. It was kind of making a big splash. And then Championship Edition DX came out in 2010 and everyone loved it again, and now it's finally out on Steam in 2013. And I bring that up because it is important to note that this is kind of an old game to a certain extent, even though it's new on the PC. You can almost tell it just by the menu here. Like, the menu looks like no other game I've played before in, like, the last 5 or 6 years. It almost looks like an in-development menu, and this is a very minor concern. I like this game overall, especially the gameplay once we actually get into the levels, which is basically the only thing that matters. But the few minor quirks that I have, the UI is weird and hard to navigate with a controller, which is strange. And also, I hate that there's achievements that are like first share, so you get achievements for like sharing on Facebook and advanced sharing, and it always asks you to share everything on Facebook, which is like, no, I'm 24 years old. Do you think I want to tell my friends that I'm sitting here playing Pac-Man Championship Edition DX+ in my underwear on a Friday afternoon? Well, maybe. That might be, I don't know, a humble brag or something like that, but no, let's just ignore that for now. So we're going to play the game, because again, playing the game is the only thing that matters. And the setup for this game is that it is not, you know, narrative-based or narrative-focused. This is a score attack game, and the way that the levels are set up is not like, beat level 1, move on to level 2. I mean, it kind of is, but, you know, from a functional standpoint, it's not really. These are just courses where you can ply your trade and try to set the highest score that you possibly can. So we're going to go to Championship 2 is the first course that you usually get. Okay, so we're going to start on Championship 2, and there's a variety of different kind of ways that you can play these. And going through them, you can see that I haven't played all of them, even for Championship 2 yet. But score attack, 5 minutes is like you got 5 minutes, rack up as many points as possible. 10 minutes, you can probably figure that out for yourself. Time trial, we'll try that really quickly, even though this is not the basic game mode. This will explain how the heck the mechanics work to a certain extent. This is more like a puzzle game mode, where basically your objective is to eat all of the apples that show up on a level in a given amount of time. Now, you might be saying, that sounds really simplistic, and to a certain extent, it actually is. But this is a good way of introducing the kind of mechanic of Pac-Man Championship Edition DX+, which is actually important, and that is, eating dots is not merely for points anymore. Eating dots, if you eat all the dots on one side of the screen, it causes fruit to show up on the other side of the screen. Eating fruit on one side of the screen causes enemies and dots to show up on the other side. So it's constant yin and yang. You eat the dots, you unlock fruit. You eat the fruit, you unlock more dots. This is going to be Time Trial 2. We got to eat 8 apples here. Let's try it again. So this is basically kind of like the puzzle mode of the game. It's my less favorite mode of the game versus the score attack, because the score attack you can really get into kind of like a zen state. This game is all about finding the right routes to take and, you know, amassing as much ghost aggro as you possibly can, and getting as many points as possible. Am I seriously, like, not gonna beat this one? Is this the last apple? It's not? Oh, man, that was actually really close there. Oh, but that's because I'm trying to beat my personal best. I'm not trying to, actually beat level 2. That's fine, though. Okay. So, that's Time Trial. I guess I didn't do Time Trial 2. That's fine, though. There's also Ghost Combo, which is basically like eat as many ghosts as you possibly can before your meter runs out. This is all irrelevant. The main mode of the game that you're going to be spending most of your time with if you play this is the score attack. So we're going to jump into score attack 5 minutes here, and we're going to stay on the same level. Let's talk about some of these settings, because I didn't lampshade these at all before. So visuals, there are like 8 different visual settings in the game. You know, ranging from kind of like your blue-style Tron Pac-Man level into, I don't know, this is more like a grid-based, like a Robotron. Oh, not really Robotron. I like C, personally. D's got a little bit of topographical detail, and then you get into, like, the candy Legos and stuff like that, and then G itself just looks a little bit tight for me. H is kind of cool, too. Why don't we roll with H? There's also Dig Dug Rally X Classic. Pac is back. Come on, check it out. But, I don't have those. I'm not sure if those are paid DLC. There actually is a lot of paid DLC for this so far. I am playing the vanilla version without any of those courses added on. So just to give you the kind of experience. Also, you can choose your music every time. You can also choose the characters that you have every time. So, you know, there's different sprites. You can play as like your, I don't know, is that Atari 2600 or PS1 era weird Pac-Man? There's also Dig Dug, Rally X, and Classic as well as Pac is back. But anyway, we're going to go with Type 1. And difficulty is the most important thing here if you don't care about the aesthetics at all. So the way the difficulty works, Expert starts you off at a much higher game speed than normal or beginner. I believe you also get more lives and more bombs on beginner and normal, but that rarely becomes relevant, and I'm not particularly good at the game, but I rarely run out of lives, because you do get extra lives the more points you get. Now, starting with a higher game speed is actually a good way to unlock higher scores overall in the game, because it does allow you to move faster, and moving faster actually allows you to rack up combos a little bit better. So again, I talked about Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus. I should preface this by saying that this is a very difficult game to play and talk over at exactly the same time. Sometimes this does require pretty quick thinking, pretty quick reflexes, and if I make some mistakes, I apologize, but always recall that these videos are not to demonstrate high-level gameplay in Pac-Man Championship Edition. Ooh, this is kind of scary. Championship Edition DX Plus, but rather to demonstrate the kind of mechanics of the game. So, remember that one of the most important things in the game is... Ooh, I wonder if we can keep this combo going. We can. Eating all the dots so that you get the fruit. And that sounds superficial, but it'll eventually become, you know, the crux of your entire life when you play this game. You have to eat all the dots to unlock the fruit, and you have to unlock the fruit to get more dots and enemies to spawn. The more enemies you get... Oh, this could have been close there. The more ghosts you can aggro, and as you aggro those ghosts, you can see when you eat a power pellet, you can then eat them for a massive number of points, which is the way that you are going to be generating exceptionally high scores in this game. So basically, the way that you play this, this is not a game necessarily about discovering all sorts of crazy strategies. At least, oh, we should turn around and get this. And the sound, oh my god, the sound is so satisfying when you actually make it work. But, this is not a game where necessarily, you know, we could be able to swing this and get another huge combo here. Where you're gonna be learning new strategies and coming up with like crazy combos and stuff like that, and it's like, hey, Pac-Man, ooh, you got 100 points on this level, so now you've unlocked a grappling hook. Like, it doesn't work like that. This is a game where the more you play, the more you learn the levels, and then you perfect them, you get your kind of routes nailed down, and then it's just about executing on a routine consistently over and over and over. Oh, God. This is a little scary for me. I do have a bomb that I can use, and I can use that bomb to clear all of the enemies that are chasing me. But the reason I don't want to do that is because it does cause my game speed to go lower, and that makes it an unideal or unideal way to kind of solve the problem here. I would rather just... Oh, I have to use bomb there because I trapped myself. But I would rather just get as many ghosts as possible. I'm going to have to use it again like an idiot. Now, of course, there is a power pellet just kind of chilling down there, but they also often spawn in the levels themselves. So, some of these ghosts have power pellets inside of them, so if you eat them, you actually get to continue your ghost-eating combo, which is good, because the more ghosts you eat, the more points you get. As you can see, my high score on this level is actually around 800,000. I did have a level where I broke 1 million, and that was actually one of the rare achievements. That was a total waste of a power pellet, probably. It was one of those rare achievements in the game that does not require, you know, Facebook integration in order to get. But this is what I mean that, oh god, to a certain extent, this is kind of a relic of, I don't know, 2008, 2007 era design, where it was like, check it out, you can have, I gotta do that again. You can have Facebook integration. So, a couple things I haven't talked about yet. Explained the fruit and dot mechanic, but when you get close to a ghost, the game slows down, and this makes it a lot easier to avoid ghosts, but it also makes it much more tense, especially if you end up getting in a situation where you go in one direction and then it slows down and you're like, shit, there's a ghost there. Then you turn around and go in the other direction and it slows down again and you're like, oh, there's a ghost there too. So it makes it easier to avoid the ghosts. I'm using so many bombs here. But at the same time, it does also make it much more intense and a much more kind of, I don't know, visceral and engaging experience. Not to say that the original Pac-Man and a lot of the variations upon it are not necessarily, you know, intense games. Of course, Billy Mitchell would probably disagree with me there. But that is to say that I think this makes Pac-Man kind of more accessible for the dubstep generation, of which, you know, I may or may not be a part of. Mind you, I'm not even sure if dubstep was a twinkle in most people's eye back in 2008. Not that this is dubstep at all. It's kind of a shitty catch-all for electronic music. Speaking of which, ooh, we can sneak out there. Speaking of which, oh, I got hit. The soundtrack and visuals in the game are some of the strongest elements of the game by far. Some of the strongest reasons that I could possibly give you to pick this up. That was a total clusterfuck of a situation. I can't believe I had to use a bomb there. This is, again, the reason I brought up Geometry Wars Retro Evolved right off the bat is that this is the kind of same experience as that. There are a lot of people who are not into these score attacky type games. Ooh, that was kind of close. To be quite frank with you, I don't blame you for that at all. You know, these kind of games are designed for a certain subset of people, and although I do think that this is a more accessible game than a lot of other score attacky type games, this is definitely not for someone who's like, you know what I like out of Xbox Live Arcade? I like Braid and like Braid alone. Like, this is not that. There's no story. There's no any kind of narrative or character development. It doesn't turn gaming on its head, but what it is incredibly addictive and also very fun as well. So if you're the kind of person who can see yourself getting lost for a couple of hours in a game like this, then I would encourage you to pick it up. The main concerns are just that the UI like this is super weird. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Confirm, sure. I mean back. Apparently back is how you get by that menu. And you know, it's got online leaderboards, so you ply your trade against people online and see if you can defeat them. But that is not really that relevant. I actually top 1,000 almost for that. That's pretty good. That's like top 20% right there. I'm pleased with myself. Why don't we try out a different course? So there are a number of courses in the game. Several of them are locked, and I think this is kind of bullshit because it does kind of feel a little bit tedious. By the way, I apologize for my Steam notification. Steam just updated and apparently forgot all of my earlier preferences to never tell me who is playing speedrunners right now, even though that game is awesome as well. But yeah, the courses are locked. So you start with Championship 2. And then Highway, Junction, Spiral, Manhattan. But you can't get to the other levels until you actually unlock them via playing the preceding level, which seems kind of weird because it's not like you need to pass a certain score threshold, I think. Why don't we mix it up? We'll play Expert again, but we'll play on H. We already played on H. Why don't we play on A visuals? I like A visuals. And we can change the color by using the right bumper here. There we go. That looks positively toxic. Ah, there we go. That's kind of nice. And we'll play as, why not this weird version of Pac-Man here. Yeah, it's weird that they're gated because, I don't know. It just seems strange. It's not like I'm going to gain skills on this level that will necessarily help me out a great deal on future levels. I think, anyway, unless that's some kind of subtle game design that I have not noticed. But it's kind of cool, you know. I mean, this is the kind of game they could have shipped with one course, and I would have gotten borderline the same value out of it. Because the core gameplay is so fun and addictive in and of itself, the variation in courses is, I wouldn't necessarily say irrelevant, but it's second most important. It plays second fiddle to the fact that the core gameplay itself is just so gosh darn addictive and fun. Now, okay, I can sneak out there. That's fine. It does take a little while to kind of get used to the mechanics, and that's not to say that this game is a high learning curve, because it is very accessible. But as someone who has never really spent that much time with Pac-Man, and to be quite honest with you, you know, when I was younger, and arcades did still exist, although they were on their way out. Ooh! That was actually a pretty good play there. I always thought Pac-Man was kind of like the game you play when Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is already in session, right? You're like, okay, fine, I'll play a little bit of Pac-Man while I wait for that dude to finish up with Tekken 2 or something like that. And that's not an insult to Pac-Man. Again, I don't want Billy Mitchell to get up. Actually, I totally want Billy Mitchell to get up in this video and yell at me. What is this power I'm picking up anyway? Oh, God, that was like a slingshot or something. Oh, that's not good. Can I still sneak out of there? Okay, I didn't think that was going to be possible, but that's neat. And what I really like about this game, and I'm totally going to ignore where I was going with that last bit of dialogue there, is that it does kind of have distinct phases, and the phases are kind of user divided, if that makes sense. So, you know, phase 1, which I'm doing a pretty shitty job of here, is largely just getting ghost... I can't do anything about that one. Getting ghost aggro, and as you get these ghosts to follow you around, eventually this will allow you to get more points later, because you'll have so many ghosts in your tail, and each one of those is worth more or less. What the... Oh, I ran too fast and ended up running into the ghost. Should have just used a bomb there. That was very confusing. But yeah, every ghost is worth more or less 3,000 points, so if you can get 100 ghosts behind you, then that's obviously pretty significant from a point standpoint, as you can see, or a high score standpoint. You can easily end up gaining 100,000 or 200,000 from just a single tail. Oh, that was really bad. A single tail of good ghosts. That being said, even though I've died twice here, I have never gotten a like a game over in Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus, except by way of running out of time. Probably another waste of a perfectly good power pellet there, but I want to keep this combo going. And hopefully we'll get our game speed up a little bit. Sometimes things do move very, very quickly, and it can be a little bit difficult to visually parse what I'm seeing. But to a certain extent, that's part of the... Oh, that was really terrible for me to put myself in that situation. To a certain extent, I think that's part of the challenge of the game, and I think that's totally intentional as well. I am putting together an absolutely god-awful run here. We only have... Oh, we have 2 minutes remaining, I guess. I always thought that that bell just rang when there was 1 minute remaining. That's okay, though. Again, I guess I am still learning to a certain extent. As much as I like this game... Oh, I didn't even realize. I thought I was going through the highway on the left side. As much as I like this game, I am aware of, you know, who this game appeals to, at least I think, and who it doesn't. And if you are the kind of person who cannot just turn on a score attack game and have fun with it for a couple hours and be content to have spent $10 on that, then Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus is not the game for you. For example, if you have Spelunky, but you can't find yourself entertained by like zoning out and trying to get a 1 million plus high score or something like that, it always has to be like, okay, we're gonna beat Olmec on this run. And to a certain extent, I am like that, as you know if you watch the streams. Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus might not necessarily be the game for you, and that is totally fine. This is not going to be, I think for most people at least, it's not going to be an experience where if you haven't played it, oh, I thought I could sneak through there, and I turned out to be correct. But it's not going to be an experience where, like, if you don't play this year, people are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? You didn't play Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus in 2013? That's what 2013 was all about, motherfucker. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. That being said, you know, in playing it now, I can definitely see why people were so enamored with it when it originally came out on Xbox Live Arcade back in the day. And even though I might not be necessarily one of the die-hard fans of this game, I know and respect many people who are, and I can appreciate why they are as well, because, oh no. Yeah, I probably didn't need to use a bomb there, but I'm happy I did. Oh my god. Scary situation. But yeah, I can know and appreciate why they are such big fans of this game, and having played it for myself now, I totally get that this is one of those games where you can play it for 3 or 4 hours and be like, I thought I was only in there for like 10 minutes, and it's one of those games as well where it's like, oh, where did the time go, you know? One more game, over and over and over. So it is very addictive in that. And it won a lot of awards, year-end awards, back in 2008 and 2012. 2007, 2002, 2008, and 2010, sorry, for being extremely addictive. So I don't know how I did there. I guess we can check out our score attack. Not very good. One thing I am noticing is that this seems to be a game where you either like play it twice and hate it and never play it again, or you just don't get it, or you get really sucked in. So you can see like on the first level, there were like 5,000, and then we're on the 6th level or something, and there's only 800. So it's not necessarily the kind of thing that is necessarily a game that appeals to everybody. And that's basically going to do it for my Let's Look at of Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus on Steam. It is $10. Of course, this is available on other platforms, but you probably already knew that. It is worth noting that there is, I believe, a free demo, but you can probably get kind of a feel for how the game is and whether or not you would like it just by watching it. It's shallow, but it's addictive. That's basically the one-liner that I will drop off here. And it's not shallow to say that you'll master it quickly, because it is one of those games that's relatively easy to pick up, but difficult to master. And you're going to be competing with other people who are very, very good at the game. And there is a very high skill ceiling. People have been playing this game for a long time, and they've gotten very, very good at it. That being said, it is shallow in the sense that, you know, what you see is what you get. There's a few courses, and the mechanics are strong, but it's not like, you know, most people I don't think are necessarily going to end up investing 50 to 100 hours in this. It seems like the kind of game maybe you play while your video is rendering, or maybe you play while you're just taking a break from doing your homework or something like that. So I don't necessarily think this is a must-buy, but I do think, or I should say, I don't think it's necessarily a must-buy for everybody. I think there is a small sliver of the population that this is absolutely a must-buy for, and those people can spend a ton of time with this game. Everybody else, I would encourage you to check it out for yourself. It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually quite fun and a very great and engrossing audio-visual experience. But from a gameplay standpoint, I think a lot of people might get bored relatively quickly. And again, a certain other proportion of people will never play anything else for the rest of their lives. Obviously, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, consider clicking the like button and helping me spread my seed throughout YouTube in the grossest way possible. Consider leaving a comment letting me know what you liked or not like about the video. And as always, if you want to see more first impressions of indie games and AAA games alike, you can click subscribe in the video description below, or the subscribe button under this video, and get those delivered straight to your inbox. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.